A few labs ago, when we were practicing returning values from methods, we wrote the find max and find min methods, and they took 3 integers and gave you back which one was the maximum one or the minimum one. So the only problem with find max and find min as we wrote them back then was that you could only ever pass 3 numbers. You couldn't pass fewer than 3 numbers, etc. So we're going to write a more robust version of find max and find min right now that take an array as a parameter. And here's what it might look like. I'm going to Java doc it first to get us through English. Given an array of, let's say, of ints, return the maximum value in the array. That's it. Okay, so for a parameter, it looks like we need an array of ints. What am I going to call it? Nums, an array of integers, and it's going to return the maximum value inside nums. There's my Java doc. Now I'll go ahead and write the method public static int, since it's returning the maximum value. Find max, and we need an integer array, nums. Almost always when you're dealing with an array, and especially this one is an array traversal, where you're going through the array one element at a time, you're going to be using a for loop every time. Let me set up a variable for my maximum, int max equals, and in this case, you could set it to 0, you could set it to the first element in the array. I think I'll do that. Or you could set it to the number 0, and then I'll write a for loop. In I equals 0, I less than nums dot length. I paused for a minute because I was trying to think of what if you have an array of length 0, would that be a problem on line 59? And then I thought, can you even make an array of length 0 in Java? I don't think I've ever tried to do that, and so I actually don't know. But moving on, here I'm using the length property of nums to help me figure out when to end my loop, and then I'm going up by 1 every time. The spacing is not important, but I find it a little easier to read if I space it out a bit. Okay, at each moment, this is going to look a little bit like the maximum and minimum reporting that you did for what? The count digits lab, which was last week. So basically the logic is set the maximum to something very low, then check each one in the array. If that one if the current one in the array is bigger than my current maximum, then it becomes the new maximum. So here's what that looks like. If nums sub I is greater than the current maximum, then switch it to be the new maximum. By the time I've gotten through the for loop, I should now have the maximum stored in max, and I can return it. Let's give that a test. And then we'll write find min afterwards, which will be basically the same idea. So now I have a find max. I've printed out my array here, and then I'll just do a quick print afterwards. System.out.println maximum number is, printf, just because I love printf. Maximum number is %d. Oh, and here is where I forget my new line, and I forget to put my variable in. Find max, passing random nums. I'm just going to do the method call right inside the printf. Okay, let's see it in action. Let's do 10 numbers. Maximum number is 6. It does look like that is the case. I need 4 numbers. Beautiful. In the next video, I'll quickly do find min, but I'm sure that you will find it quite straightforward if you understand find max.